On a night when Lou Holtz and his 1988 national championship team were honored, the Ohio State Buckeyes used some of Coach Holtz's words as motivation. You see, earlier this week, Holtz called Ohio State soft and said they couldn't play a physical game against Notre Dame. Well, Ryan Day took that personally, and the game-winning drive was the fulfillment of Ryan Day's toughness. Montgomery also had the chance this summer to spend some time in Pennsylvania with Ben Roethlisberger, as the former Finley signal caller gave some advice to the current Trojan quarterback. We know Jim Harbaugh loves his acronyms, and after the victory over Minnesota, he introduced another one, DOG. Disciplined athlete with grit, and says his quarterback J.J. McCarthy is the perfect example of what the kids call a dog. There is one noticeable change at Ken James Field at Ranger Stadium. The grass, it's no longer here after losing a lengthy battle against a yearly invasive weed. The school board finally decided this offseason to rip up the natural grass and go with the field turf. And the team is looking forward to that Week 2 matchup against Lake when they can use this for the first time in a game. The cover-up is worse than the crime for Michigan's Jim Harbaugh, as the Wolverines head coach is facing a 4-game suspension to begin the upcoming college football season. This had all the ingredients for the classic Purdue upset over Ohio State, as the Buckeyes came into West Lafayette without number 2 receiver Emeka Egbuka. Healthy receivers had the case of the drops throughout the game against the Boilermakers. They were down to their 4th-string running back. They missed the point after. They fumbled into the end zone, but in the end, Purdue was perdon't, as the Buckeyes remain undefeated with the 41-7 victory in West Lafayette. Well, the Rocket ride ends in Rocky Top as the Toledo Rockets' dream season comes to an end with a second-round loss to the Tennessee Lady Volunteers. Now, just hours after the game, they were starting to tear down the court at Thompson Bowling Arena. Well, there'll be no massive rebuild for the University of Toledo. Just about everybody is coming back for next season, and they expect to use this loss to Tennessee as fuel for the Rocket fire. Ohio State used a simple formula to beat Penn State for the 7th year in a row. You start with the best wide receiver in college football, Marvin Harrison Jr., a suffocating defense. You throw in a crowd that could only be described as electric, and the Buckeyes get their second top 10 victory of the season. The Rockets have long relied on a blue-collar gold standard with Tricia Cullip as the head coach. For Cullip's generation, the gold standard was Tennessee. 8 national championships with legendary head coach Pat Summitt. And while Tennessee's last trip to the Final Four, their 18th in program history, came 15 years ago, the current generation of Rocket players have an appreciation for the Lady Volunteers.